Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 118 of Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone, brought to you by Solozo. Today, Kris and I could not be more excited with our guest, Norm Farrar. Norm, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
We were just chatting before we went live here. It's just, you get your hands in a lot of things. This is exciting. We're going to have so much fun talking about all this stuff today.
Yeah, I can't wait. I just like talking shop.
Oh. So
if you've been in the Amazon business, or if you've been in the Amazon space and you don't know who Norm Farrar is, then you haven't been paying attention because this guy's everywhere.
Yes.
This guy's everywhere.
You are.
You know, it really isn't me. I just get people to wear the beard and go out and I sit back. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so distinctive. I mean, it's the beard guy. It's unbelievable. Everyone knows you. It's and of course what your content's amazing. And we are going to talk, our topic today will be talking about some off Amazon marketing strategies. But before we even talk about that, we want to talk about you. Give us just a background on Norm, how you got started in the space and what you're up to right now.
Oh, well, okay. Reader's Digest. Back in the 90s, 95-ish, had a promotions company. The promotions company, this is kind of cool because this kind of ties into what I'm doing now, but completely vertically integrated. Okay, so we believe that if you had the screening company, you had the embroidery company, if you owned the courier company, it was all you were in control. Well, one of the companies that we were working with, Fortune 5 company, wanted a website. I had no idea what a website. I had no idea about the internet. I took on the job, and I actually paid their own technicians to build the site for me. But then afterwards, everybody got to know me, and I was doing e-com. I ended up, my family business has always been in manufacturing. My dad approached me. And he said, look, I saw what you were doing in China with some importing we were doing with the promo company. Do you want to do something together? Okay, so my brother, my father, and I went off to Taiwan. We opened up 2 factories there. Did some really cool things. They've been sold already. Came back, have some fulfillment centers, and got into specialty packaging. And then we decided to open up another factory in China. And so that's still going. That's actually going quite well. It's kind of unfortunate, but it was into the wipes, right? So everybody you jumped in this year. We were doing it a few years ago. But anyways, 2014, same as you guys, ended up going to Amazon, and that's where I found out that's my perfect storm. Everything kind of came together. And then just leading into right now, you could be an Amazon seller, but again, if you're vertically integrated, well, why don't you take care of the branding, the packaging, everything that goes along with it, the sourcing and logistics, the communications company, and public relations company over to the chatbot agency. So it's everything that you need from, creating a logo to selling your business.
And what I like about this is it's next level. You're not just throwing stuff on Amazon to sell it. You're taking it to the next level and you're creating a brand around it. You're doing marketing to those audiences. You're promoting new products. You're really going and you're creating a brand and you're trying to make something that you can eventually sell off or pass down.
There's a lot of people that don't care about brand. They don't think there's any importance, in doing it. And that's fine, maybe for their products. But I think if you're going to have a really great exit, I want to build a wide brand.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, and that's something that's really come about recently, and probably in the last 2 or 3 years, is this just the concept of exiting. I mean, when we started, I talk about this a lot. When Kris and I started, we were starting as a side hustle. We weren't thinking about you're not thinking in 2014. Oh, I can build a big brand and have this big exit. But that's what's happening, and that's reshifting a lot of people's just the way they're running their business, how they're trying to create these brands now, and it's fascinating. And what's interesting about your story is when you were in e-commerce and you were in like you said, you had those factories overseas way before this became a standard model, like the FBA model. Like I would say that, hey, around 2014 area. So you came in from a different angle. You came in from that manufacturing side.
Right.
Yeah. And that had to give you a lot of different perspective than the typical seller, I would imagine, who's
yeah. Like even the little tips, like being able to do kitting and assembly, not in one area, but being able to do like home kitting and assembly in Taiwan. Well, we could do the same thing overseas. Also, where to get packaging, what type of packaging, what to expect in China, and then little things, not little, but taxes. Okay, so and tariffs. All right. And this happened, like I sell soap, like it was one of my products, and I got dinged for this. And I thought I knew sourcing, and I relied on a broker at the time. And the broker, said, "Oh, okay, it'll be 17% duty." Okay, I went along with it, no problems in natural soap. Well, I found out if I change it to Castile soap, which is exactly what it is, it was zero. So I saved 17%.
Oh man.
Oh.
And that's nothing compared to the numbers right now that we're seeing, with the Trump tariffs and stuff. Like if you can save the Trump tariff and I'm not talking about lying, I'm talking about taking a specific product, recategorizing into what it is, saving the Trump tariff and saving the actual HTS code. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's a whole, that I feel like, especially me, when I was jumped into this back in the day, that was the part that I was most nervous about, was the whole logistics part. You're trusting this, to send a whole big shipment across the ocean. You don't know what's, and then you could get, like you said, you could get dinged. You could get dinged the wrong way. You could classify it improperly and owe more tariffs than you thought. There's just so much involved, and coming at it from that side. I mean, that was a nice advantage starting, is to understand all of that for sure. And then you ran with it. It sounds like you just kept that vertical integration going.
Yeah, that was I love that. I love building. I love vertical integration, and I like systemization. If you don't have systemization, scalability, automation, you can't really grow a hyper growth business. So those all three things have to be there to do that. So that's one thing we did right off the bat. Is we started writing down every single, literally how to make a cup of coffee. There's a process for everything.
Yeah. Systemization is huge. I'm clearly guilty of not doing enough of that. So it's interesting what you bring up, but let's talk about now, because you do a lot in the off Amazon marketing space. And that's what we'd like to focus on. This conversation today is mostly about that. What for someone who's starting as an Amazon seller, how important do you think it is to focus on not just Amazon PPC, but off Amazon marketing tactics?
Oh, you got to. You really do have to. Even if you want to, Amazon's saying, look, build a community. We want a brand. We want you to build a brand. We want you to build a community. We've got all these new things that we're going to provide to you. Your customer engagement, posts, live, your store now, drive people, get them to follow you. And you're going to benefit from that. Then you've got to take a look at, I remember Mike McClary from ASM back in the day used to say, do Facebook offers. Do I think he called it a blitz traffic or traffic blitz, and you got to hit it from all angles. So like for us, if when we want to launch something, we do a pre-launch. We want to get, people interested in our product even before the product's out there. So all this external traffic, press releases, content marketing, like if you don't have a website, get a website, put a blog on, drive your traffic over there. We'll talk a bit more about Google My Business, but there's so many things that you can do to drive external traffic that will really help you out. And when you start to do this, what you'll see is that you'll get extra sales. Like go to Google Shopping. Go to places with influencers. You had Paul Barron on the other, a little while ago. He talks about influencers. Work with them. This is a complete traffic blitz. And I had a John Hefner from Thrasio on my show the other day, and he was talking about if you're not in the red and you're doing something wrong, you have to be in the red to really succeed with your product, to get it out there, to get it known, to get the brand known. So if you're hesitating on that, there's a right place and a wrong place to put your money, and saving your money and doing your own iPhone photos is not the place to do it. Marketing, I hire experts all the time. If I'm not an expert in it, why am I playing with it? So it's really important, for external traffic. If you're not great at it,
get somebody to do it.
Absolutely. It might cost you. It might cost you a few bucks, right? But at the end of the day, if you can drive double or triple, quadruple the traffic, it pays off.
I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. Is they're like, I don't know if I can do $100 or $500 for this because I don't know what my return is, so they don't do it.
Yeah,
and they leave it and they figure it out that they'll do it on their own. And then what ends up happening is you never end up doing it. You just forget about it and you move on and it's just left in the back somewhere. But if you would have just taken that risk and say, okay, I'm going to go 500, I'm going to test it out. If it works, I'll invest more. But you don't know unless you really get into that. And I'm guilty of that. I mean, there's times I don't sign up for a program or I decide not to do something. And maybe looking back, I probably should have, because it maybe could have helped accelerate the brand a little bit more.
Right.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah. So touch on we'll go down these one by one. So different types of off Amazon marketing. One is press releases. This is something that I probably should be doing, but I'm not doing press releases. Explain just what they are and your systems for doing press releases.
All right. So the first thing, you'll probably hear the word PR, and people will get that mixed up with public relations and press releases. Public relations might be an event. Press releases would be the distribution, like the content distributed or syndicated to make people aware of the event. Two different things. So a press release, if it's done properly, if you have a high quality press release and you optimize it properly, first of all, you'll get ranking on Google. So wouldn't it be nice if somebody typed in your keyword and you're actually on Google for something in your own words about your product, about how great, these bully sticks are for elderly dogs. Okay, great. And when people look at the press release, they'll not only see it. Now, again, if you're going for crappy press releases, free press releases with a distribution point in smalltown, .com, you're going to get what you pay for. You can go out and seek out really good media outlets, but it's a ton of work. But if you find a good press release, it's called the social media press release, and all that is, it will go out to influencers, bloggers, journalists, media outlets, and it's going to have some sort of social sharing there. They're usually around $100 to $300. The next up, more of a traditional press release, $750, $1,500, will get you big bang for your buck. That's like if we're doing a product launch, we'll use that, and then we'll not only go out to all these media outlets, very high ranking, high authority sites, but it's also going to go out to the periodicals. It'll go into niche markets. So usually, and it's fantastic. So you'll see, like, you're pushed up. I'll give you an example. You will not believe it. You guys will love this. So we had a agency come to us that does DSP. Okay, DSP, Amazon DSP advertising, and did a press release. That higher press release knocked Amazon out of first place.
Wow.
For DSP advertising. I'm not kidding. And advertising on Amazon knocked them out first and on one keyword, down to third in another keyword, and second on another keyword.
Was your phone ringing
Guess
off
who
the
gets
hook?
a call from Amazon?
What's that?
Guess who gets a call from Amazon?
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Who are you? What
Yeah.
are you doing? And stop it.
Wow.
One press release.
It was a higher end press release. And then you can follow that up with some really, I don't know if you know Shane Oglow. He's my partner at PR Reach, but he's come up with this thing where it amplifies content. It's called Brand Builder. And you can take that and you can actually make it even further, like give you more ranking. So I was, and to see how powerful this is too, if you're constantly doing press releases for different keywords, you're going to constantly fill up the Google ranking. So I was on a podcast, I think it was Helium 10 Elite. Day before I went on, I did a press release and I wanted to show them what a social media press release can do. So one day later, it's all there, it's posted. I said, okay, here's my keyword. And the first page, Amazon.com, no, Chewy, Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, a bunch of other stuff, all the videos, the images, everything on page one was my product. The next page was everything except the one spot. But there were press releases there from 2016.
So it sticks.
So what we have, it is a bit of a traffic blitz because how we filled it up is we use press releases and influencers. So Amazon gets, like, we drove the link back, just a raw link back to our listing. And what ended up happening is we were working with a bunch of influencers. The influencers wrote content about the product, so that was showing. So we dominated, not just by our listing, but people writing content about it.
And that's evergreen content.
It's evergreen, yeah. And the press releases last for a long time. Now get this. When when the press release went out there, we have a system where you can track all your keywords, and it's very hard to track the actual press release because it goes out to 400 plus media outlets. There's no way to pixel it, but and it's really not made for traffic, but it's made for links. Anyways, what ended up happening is I said, all right, I'm going to put the title in. We did a title search and we ended up with, 200 and almost 280 placements in Google in 24 hours. Okay. Some of them were horrible keyword phrases. But some were really good, like bully stick launch. I don't know if you guys know bully sticks, very competitive. Amazon bully sticks. And we were ranking for page one with 170 some odd, and number one position 131 overnight.
Gosh, that's crazy.
And even you can go further if you geo-targeted. So if you did your title properly, right, and you went in Orchard Park, okay, in Orchard Park, Florida, FL. Now you're geo-targeting those press releases, and you can pretty much dominate that region. So if you take a look at your reports and you see that you're dominating in Fort Lauderdale or Orchard Park or wherever, you can target to places under 350,000 people and instantly just dominate.
This is
what are sellers having to give, like, for these press releases? Like, if I want to do one, what do I need to provide? Just the ASIN, or do I need to give an article, or what's the process look like?
Most press release companies hate when people provide their own articles because they don't know how to do it. They don't know a lot of people will go on to Fiverr or go somewhere and get a really good blog article writer, but they suck at press releases. They don't know how to write it. So I would recommend that if you're working with a company, that you provide the keywords, you provide your product page, you provide some, like, even the bullet points to allow them to research your product. And then as much content as possible. There's I've seen where Amazon sellers are like, I have no problems telling my brands, doing my brand, come on after me. I love the traffic. So anyways, the people are afraid to show their contact info. And you're sitting there going, okay, you're doing a press release, but if people don't know about you, how do they contact you?
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
you get an opportunity to put your name, your address, your phone number if you want, email, your site, all of your social media, your YouTube channel, and a specific YouTube video that here's a tip if you're doing press releases. Write an article beforehand. So that content article writer that you have, 5 ways that, or 5 reasons why natural bully sticks provide healthy digestion for elderly dogs. Okay. And then you publish this, you create your YouTube video about it, which it doesn't have to be professionally done. You insert it into your blog article. And then when you do your press release, you tie your video link, your YouTube video, into your press release, and one of the links feeds back over to your article. Now you're going to have Amazon love, Google love, and you'll probably get ranked for both on Google.
I did not know. This is kind of blowing my mind. I did not realize the power of these press releases. And my question is, does this work for any product? I know your example is a fairly competitive product, but if it's like a commoditized product, does it work, or does it work better for something that's super unique or needs to be
all right
new to the market?
Dustin,
yeah,
how tough do you think it is? How much money do you have to throw at SEO for a product to knock Amazon.com out of Amazon, like first place position?
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like one high-end press release that the PPC agency did. And, they gave us all of their texts and everything to show this case study to show that it worked. And if you could do it and knock Amazon out of first position, Bob's plastic shoe stretchers, I think we could do that. Or, press release could do that. So that's, if it's done, if you're publishing it to your, you have press release distribution companies that you can upload your own and send it out, and people will think they're doing it's like these people that shoot their photos with iPhones. They're, saving a buck. No, you might as well just keep it in your wallet. If you go to a high quality press release distribution company, and the key is ask the press release distribution company for their distribution report. You want to see who they're actually distributing the information to, and they could have like their own influencer network, or they might be working with Haro. So Haro's a very help a reporter out is just a place where a lot of journalists are pitching, and you can monitor it, and you can see if maybe a journalist will pick up something on your product, and you can get them to write about it. That's a no-brainer. It's free. So there are ways of pitching and going out, finding influencers. Paul probably talked about it, but press releases, they're great. Press releases linked to a blog are supercharged. Taking a press release, taking a blog, and repurposing it on social media, now you're on steroids.
My wife follows some of these influencers on Instagram, and they'll be promoting products every now and then. And like I'll explain, like, that seller has no idea that they're about to get all these sales coming from this influencer, and they're going to be wondering where the hell these things come from, because they're going to be steady, 10, 20 units a day. And then this influencer with 400,000 followers shares a product. Boom, it goes out of the, like, they don't even realize it's coming. And maybe they do. Maybe they talk to the influencer and told the influencer, hey, look, I'll give you the product for free or give you a couple $100. You do this. But that's the power of like getting your product out there or promoting your product to an influencer. They can just share it to their audience. And now you're getting pretty much organic traffic to your listing. And you're not having to pay for advertising. You're just, giving it away or giving even a discount. Like I've even heard of some, like they'll contact an influencer and say, hey, look, I'll give your audience 30% off. Just have them use your code and go buy the item. That works too.
Yeah, no, you can get a lot out of nano and micro influencers. People trust them. But if you go, like, that's a whole marketing strategy in itself. If you go to the higher level, and let's say you're going more to the macro or to the celebrity type, let's say, 2.5 million plus, you can get a lot of leverage, like Snow. I don't know if you know Snow brands, but Snow went from nothing to, I think they sold for about $100 million. They have incredible, we haven't talked about this, but product innovation. So product innovation, the product is incredible. But what did they do? They used influencers. They used Floyd Mayweather. They used Gronk. I think it was Conor McGregor for their teeth whitening strips.
What a trio.
Yeah. Get them together. And then Joe Martin over at BoxyCharm, he just sold for $500 million. Now, who does he use? Kim Kardashian. He uses, all of these high-end celebrities. Now, is this guy afraid to go in the red? No.
Yeah, no. He's looking big picture.
Yeah, well, $500 million worth of big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Let's get into that product innovation and perceived value. What kind of bundle those two together? What are some things? I mean, perceived value, obviously, especially online, is kind of hard to do. But if you raise your price up, because you don't want to be the highest sometimes, and you don't want to be the cheapest. But let's touch on some of that. So, what are some things that for product innovation that sellers can do just to make their product, stand out a little bit differently?
Oh, there's so many things. So, first of all, you've really got to just do your homework. So, go and check your competitors out. I call it the Brady Bunch effect. You guys are too young for that. But Brady Bunch, you surround yourself with your competitors and you send it off to PickFu or Usability Hub and you say, what do you think? And if you don't equal or have better than your top competitors, go back to the drawing board, stop everything. You're going to lose money. So that's the first step. Then you want to make sure that you're checking out other sites. Tim, my partner in private label, he talks about in Project X, going over and checking out Etsy, going over and checking out Pinterest and seeing what other people are doing. It might be for the product itself. It might be for packaging. And that's really important. There's so many times you look at Amazon and you're not getting the right view. You're getting an Amazon view. Somebody saw this. They saw it on X-Ray. They said, I'm going to target that because X-Ray says it. And X-Ray is great, but everybody gets the same plastic shoe stretcher. So how do you change that? You can either look at that plastic shoe stretcher if you really want to do it. What are the problems? Oh, the spring's breaking. Make it a titanium spring. Oh, everyone's red plastic and it breaks very easy. Make it wood or make it green or make it a thicker plastic. Diane Bolster.
Oh my gosh. We just had her on, by the way.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Hypnotic anchors. Hypnotic anchors.
It's amazing.
Make up a word. I mean, she's great. She's great. But, you have to take a look at this to make you stand apart. But the other thing is to talk to a manufacturer and, talk to the manufacturer and say, what can I do? Is there any play here to do anything? Plastic shoe stretcher. Okay. Instead of having the stupid little ones, make it the full length of the shoe and make it wood. And by the way, I did the research on plastic shoe stretchers and they were doing like 3,000 a month when I was doing them. The guy was hooked. I don't know why he loved plastic shoe stretchers. The best reviews were 3.5 stars. That's out of 7 people selling the same plastic shoe stretcher. I told him, oh, do a wooden, almost like a wooden last. It's going to cost you $1.50 more, but they do $100,000 in sales. That's what you. He said, no, I stuck with the plastic shoe stretcher. So you can't just, hang on to something because you love it. Now, forget the product. You got the product. You've changed it a little bit. Now you go into the things that will make you the most money. It's packaging. Packaging. And just do it right. And don't usually go to your manufacturer, because manufacturers suck at packaging. They're manufacturing, like they'll do the plastic shoe stretcher. They haven't the slightest idea on design. And in fact, you can go and check out like any supplement and you go, oh, that manufacturer designed that label, that label, that label, that label, because they use the same colors. It's the same look. It's the same feel. Be different. And so go to a professional to do that. And that's where it makes a big change. I'll give you a great case study. I love this case study. So about a year and a half, 2 years ago, came up with a knife. The knife was $16. The knife started, my client ended up with a $49 sell. So profit margin wasn't bad, right? But it was in a stupid clamshell, which it was just ugly. So we went back to the drawing board, came up with a new design for the package. Really looked cool, like a magnetic flap. The knife, the way it was presented, the way it unveiled itself, customer experience through the roof. All right, $49 went $59, $69, $79, $89, $99, $110, $124. So it ranges between $99 and $124, the same $16 knife, okay? And then decided, well, why don't we take the same knife, repackage it, keep the same ASIN, put it in a $3 case, wooden case, really beautiful, outer package like an iPhone, and now it's at $224. $16 knife.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is a case study that I would love.
Yeah,
and I can tell you the same thing about Dead Sea Mud. The same sort of thing happened where everybody's selling 16 ounces of Dead Sea Mud, and they're just killing themselves because it's a commodity now. I said, do a small 4-ounce premium and sell it for double what the 16 ounce are going for. And it took off.
That's incredible. How do you take that? So the packaging, obviously, I mean, for a shopper on Amazon, you've got to highlight that packaging in your listing, so they see what they're getting. But what else are you doing to get that perceived value of that product from $49 to $224? I mean, you do design that packaging that's huge, but you have to showcase it in the right way, I'm sure.
Yeah, if you don't, the price is dictated by the overall perception. If we spent all that money on packaging and the images sucked, or the title or the bullets or the A+ content sucked, then it would only be worth $49. But spending, and I hear people say, oh, I got such a great deal. You got to go to this photographer. They're $10. Go to that photographer for $10 that does a fairly good job, right? If you're a product photographer and you're a real product photographer, they're going to make a night and day difference, and they're not going to be $10. They're going to be a lot more expensive. A matter of fact, like Kevin King, I went to his original, it was called the Illuminati back years ago.
Yeah.
And, he was talking about how he spends $2,300 on his listings for typically. I'm pretty darn close to that when I shoot my photos. I've got a great photographer that will go in. I've got different photographers, but my highest paid photographer is an actual product photographer. They do this for a living. They get their product. They know the lenses. They know the lighting. They know everything that'll work for that product. They'll take hours to set up a shoot. And what I get at the end are incredible pictures. I spend money on models. I try not to stick with stock photo if I can get away from it. Like, I really hate, if you look at a stock photo and you can tell that the soap is 5 times bigger than the person's hand, and it was some Fiverr guy just stuck it there.
Yeah, those bad editing jobs, those are so funny.
It's hilarious. So that's where you can just scoop sales. So make sure that even the infographics, like you have your product shots, get a good person that can do the infographics, even in your video. What do you want to bring out in your video? You don't have to say anything. It could just be the highlights of your bullet points in there, or the packaging. Show the customer experience. And oh, by the way, if you're not buying your competitor's product to see how much they suck or how much they, how good they are, how can you compete with something you don't know about? Like, go to a store.
Yeah.
It's
crazy how it's transitioned, because when we talk about in the past, like 2013, 14, it was just get a product, don't put money in packaging, use the cardboard box they give you, and send it off, and that's it. Like start turning and burning. And now it's more of like a story, like design the packaging, invest in the listing, do the right research, give a perceived value, do more product inserts, create a brand. It's no longer let's just throw a bunch of stuff off the wall and let's see how it works. If you're going to be in this, you got to be in the long run, because you're creating a whole brand story, and you're seeing Amazon's catering to that. In the past, there was none of that stuff, but now Amazon's like inviting brands. Come on, bring your brand on. Adidas, Nike, whatever. I mean, Nike's probably a bad example, but come bring your brand on, and they want you to like use brand stories and content, because they want that that customer to feel comfortable there.
Right.
Yeah, it is interesting how that has changed. I mean, I feel like when we started in 2014, Amazon did not cater to brands very well, but they are definitely doing that a lot more these days, which is helping them. I think it's a big, and this is totally off topic, but it got my mind thinking, is this sort of like macro, just e-commerce in general, is I feel like this Amazon model where there's a million sellers all really trying to, or millions and millions of sellers, but they're actually trying to improve products really well. I think it's helped everybody. I think customers are getting better products. I think the old model where if you wanted to go buy a jump rope at Walmart, you had 2 jump ropes to pick from, and that was it. There was, and Walmart didn't care. They weren't checking weekly to see if there was a new, better model out there. So I think this has really impacted everybody. I think it's bringing more creativity and more quality products to market, which I think is a great thing. So it's cool. All right, last thing I want to talk about, because I want to hear your take on this. Google My Business.
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, explain that.
All right, so probably most of the people that are listening is going, "Oh, you can't use Google My Business for brands." Wrong. You can absolutely use Google My Business for brands. Not only can you use it, well, I guess one of the things I should mention is, though, you have to create a profile. You have to go into Google My Business, create a profile. It's going to ask you whether you want it to register by phone or by mail. It used to be by phone was the quickest, but because of backup right now, it's taking forever. So make sure that you get your card or your postcard, your confirmation code delivered to your office or your home. Don't be afraid of putting your office or home info in there. There'll be a checkbox that says show or don't show. So you're not going to be showing anything. But how would you like to add products, add categories, your brand, have Google promote them for you, like without going into Google Shopping, putting your product description in, creating a social media account, every content, every social media post that you have, put it onto Google My Business. Google indexes it immediately. Every image that you have, like make sure that you have the metadata and the titles, will go into, it will be searchable in Google Images. It's incredible. I mean, I'll give you an example of a bricks and mortar that one of the guys that does the Google My Business for me, he talked to me about. He said he was doing some work over in Seattle for a car dealership. They were spending $50,000 a month on SEO. Nice chunk. By using Google My Business, he brought the SEO down to $1,000 per month. A lot of SEO guys are going to be going, what? It's the newest secret weapon and it's basically free. I mean, you can get a service to do it. You can do it yourself. It's based on consistency. You want to do whatever you can to get ongoing content going. But if you're doing social media and if you're writing content and you're putting information up or images up, it's very easy to keep a really high quality Google My Business account up.
This is something I'm going to be doing after this call. Because like I candidly, somebody runs my social media, somebody does my blogs. I have all the content, I have all the images. I just don't have a Google My Business account yet. So this could be an easy thing for me to do real quick. Just create a Google Business account, and now all that data and all those content that's been created is not going to be able to be found in the simple search if I'm hearing you right.
Yeah, and you'll be able to track it in your Google Search Console. So you can see exactly how it's working.
This is why I like doing this podcast.
Yeah. I know. This is eye-opening. I do feel like I learn something every time. I mean, today, so I've done a lot of influencer marketing in the past, but the press releases, not on top of that, and Google My Business. So this is two things that are going to be added to the standard operating procedures right now. This is I got new things to put on here. It's really fascinating stuff here, and this has been fun. And we'll definitely have to have you back on because there's like so many other things to talk about in the Amazon space with those three. But before we do jump up, do you want to let everyone know who's listening how they can get in contact with you? I know you can help with a lot of these things we talked about. So let everyone know if they want to get in on this, how can they work with you?
Well, probably the easiest is just norm@amz.club, not com.club. That would have been too expensive. I mean, the other thing is we've got the free group, privatelabellegion.com. We've got the social media. And I got my own podcast, Lunch with Norm, which you guys will be on one of these days.
Yeah,
would be honored. And everyone needs to watch your podcast. Your podcast is great. So everyone tune into Lunch with Norm. It's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Anywhere else they can find you at? I know you're everywhere else.
Just go to Norman, either Norm or NormanFarrar.com, and you can see this stuff.
It's so fast. I love talking to people that have their hands in just lots of different aspects of it. And you really have such a great expertise on these. So it's really, really fun talking to you. We'll definitely get you back on to talk about more stuff later. Hopefully we can get you on in a couple months and maybe we can make you a regular up here. It's a blast. But so seriously, Norm, thanks so much for coming on. Everyone who's listening, thanks so much for tuning in. If you like content like this, if you learned something today from Norm like we did, and you want to hear more from our guests that we have, make sure you subscribe to our podcast. We're on all the platforms where you can listen to podcasts. So subscribe, leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. You can also see the live streams on this on Solozo's Facebook page and Solozo's YouTube channel. So make sure you go subscribe to both, follow both, turn on notifications so you know when we go live. We do this almost every single day with amazing people like Norm. But Norm, you kind of blew us away today. So
yeah,
you're going to the top.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Good stuff, Norm. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back at this again tomorrow. Have a great day.